Hello and welcome to our NMMA and CASA workshop series. My name is Olivia and I am the Permanent Collections Leonian Archive Intern at the National Museum of Mexican Art. Today we will be making our very own cyanotype photogram, also known as a sun print. In this workshop, I want you to think about how photography can be used to tell a story and the different ways that we can document life. When photographing particular events or environments that are relevant to history, we would define this type of photography as photojournalism. Within the history of photojournalism, there were a few distinct photographic processes that were used to reproduce images for distribution. There were albumin silver and gelatin silver prints, which were some of the first commercially used methods of producing black and white photography through glass plate. Much of the earlier 20th century photographic prints can be identified as having used one of these processes. The process that we're going to use for this workshop is called a cyanotype photogram. A cyanotype is an early photographic printing process that creates a cyan blue print from the objects placed atop it that are developed through direct sunlight. One of the first people to put this process to use was Anna Atkins, who in 1843 created a series of books and prints that documented botanical studies from her own personal collection. This photographic process is great for documenting botanical studies and has the opportunity to educate a viewer on that subject. So the materials that we will need to make our own cyanotype photograms are quite simple. We need a sun print paper kit that can be found at many hobby shops. We need some water. And then we also need the objects that we want to use to create our prints. For this video, I have collected a few things that feel special to me, and I encourage you to find something that you want to capture for your print that might tell you a story. So the first step is to gather the objects you want to print on the paper. The area on the paper that is blocked by an object will be white on the print, and the shadow of the object will be a light blue. And then everything that the sun hits will be a dark blue. So the next step in the process is to prepare your paper. Be sure to keep it away from sunlight until you are ready to use it, because once exposed to the light, it will begin the process of creating the print. So in a dimly lit room, think about how you are going to arrange your objects and what effects they will have on the paper. What kind of a story do you want to say through your print? Place those objects on top of the paper with the blue side facing up. Most kits also include a piece of acrylic that can be used to hold your 2D objects flat. This helps in creating more shadows and depths within the print and still lets the sun shine through it. Once you are finished, it is time to take everything outside. Carefully bring your paper and objects outside to be placed on a sturdy surface like a table. If you can, keep them hidden from the sun until you're ready. Once you have everything set down, expose the paper to direct sunlight. This process can take time depending on how bright it is. So leave your paper outside for at least 5 minutes or until the paper turns almost white. After this process is done, bring your objects and paper inside. At this point, your cyanotype photogram should be exposed on the paper, but it still needs to be rinsed. Dip your paper in a container of water and swish it around until it is fully submerged. Leave it submerged for 1 minute or so that the print can fully develop. Now pay attention to the print and watch how it darkens as the water creates more contrast. Be careful handling the paper when you're done and bringing it out of the container. Hold it by the corners and put it somewhere safe so that it can fully dry. Once it is dried, you can frame it or hang it up somewhere. Now that you know what to do, try it again. Create different compositions using the same or different objects. If you have film negatives, try using them to print atop the paper. I also like to write down the date on the back of my print so I remember when I create it. Thank you so much for joining me today in creating our cyanotype photograms. Stay tuned for our next NMMA and CASA workshop series.